All right, everyone, we have to talk about Britain, Stan, here, because there's a little bit of a problem. I don't like to watch my subscribers suffer. Unfortunately, some of them live in the UK. Now, of course, the UK has some interesting food, jellied eels, Ulster fry, haggis, and that's up in Scotland, of course. I'd really love to go there and try them. There are many fun things to see in the UK, and Americans love to do tourism and go there. By the way, do not fuck with the Buckingham Palace guards. That is a bad idea. I think that people don't understand they're not 100% ceremonial. They are actual soldiers. But I'm going to read some of this verbatim. My American friends are surprised to learn there's no equivalent to the First Amendment in Britain. By the way, link in the description, archived, of course. They have forgotten a free press was one of the things their ancestors rebelled to establish in the U.S. Yeah, I'll get into that. That's only partially true. Free speech is a much more recent thing in the UK. If it was born in the 1960s, it seems to be dying in the 2020s. After the recent riots, people were given prison sentences for posting words and images on social media. In some cases, the illegal incitement to violence was obvious. Julie Sweeney, 53, got a 15-month sentence for a Facebook comment, "Blow the mosque up with the adults in it." Lee Dunn, 51, on the other hand, got 8 weeks for sharing 3 images of Asian-looking men with captions such as, "Coming to a town near you." Talking about this, if you're actually inciting violence, so you're saying, like, burn the synagogue or something like that, that should be legally actionable. It's no longer free speech. You're intimidating other people. Or you're trying to use the heckler's veto and talk over another person. So you're trying to prevent them from speaking. Spam, for example, online, it's generated by bots. And it's not generated generally by people at all. Illicit content, something that violates another person's right, revenge porn or something like that. Those things are not free speech. Everything else should be seen as free expression, though. But in the UK, you don't really have that. This has been pointed out profusely by Sargon of Akkad especially. In the UK, you can get in trouble for simply posting a basic bitch pedestrian opinion with regards to some socio-political issue. And I find that rather unfortunate. It's rather unfortunate that there would be a country that is fully developed, supposedly, cherishes the concept of people having rights, that does that. Now, to get to the idea of free expression and the free press. Number one, press in that sense literally means to press, like a printing press. In the original definition by the founders, the free press and free expression would not be the same thing, actually. The press would literally be the right to publish literature, circulars, magazines, things of that nature. Expression and free speech in general, that was, you're giving a stump speech, you're speaking out against something in person. They would not be the same thing. That's number one. Number two, I would say that in Britain, Stan, you kind of have a free press, but not at the same time. But that's not really that different from the United States. We're being Britainified, actually. You have a press in the United States post-Obama. He decided to end the executive order banning the U.S. media from being used for propagandistic purposes domestically, for example. Now you've got lots and lots of domestic propaganda. You've definitely gotten it from big tech as well. You've got it from CNN, which partners with the Biden administration outright and explicitly, for example. So, let's not throw stones. We're in glass houses, And that's what I would say. I think that it's unfortunate what's happening over there, but I like to take care of home first. And I think that it's unfortunate what's happening in the United States as well. We are slipping down the same road. It's unfortunate. It should not be happening, by the way. We fought against this. I would also say the article is fundamentally wrong about one thing, historically speaking. The U.S. Revolution was not fought over the freedom of the press. It was a part of it. the freedom of the press, the right of the people to freely express themselves. These were all of import. The right to be represented, for example, in Parliament. The founders had sent people over to simply bitch and grieve about the fact that, hey, you know, you're taxing us the same way you do people in Britain, but we've got completely different economic circumstances, number one. And number two, you won't even let us put anyone in Parliament. This was of import. You had taxes on tea. You have the Boston Tea Party, for example, and things of that nature. Most American students have been told that that's the reason the revolution was fought. It was over tea. That's not exactly the case. And it was over guns, actually, more than anything else. The first shots were fired, ostensibly, because the British regulars, which were part of the government at the time, showed up and tried to confiscate an armory. That's effectively the reason. The UK, though, has abandoned basic human liberty at this point. When you're telling people they can't even have a pocket knife, when you're telling people they're not allowed to speak out against what they believe is an abuse of some sort, when they're not allowed to weigh in on government policies, except in a way that the government happens to condone, then you don't really have free expression at all now, do you? You don't have it in any meaningful way, shape, or form. You're allowed to express your opinions as long as your opinions happen to coincide with the government that's reigning at the time. We've seen this before. We saw this in Nazi Germany. You're free to vote as long as you vote ja. It's the same thing. It's basically a Hitler mode or something like that. It doesn't make any sense. The British, they fight for years to maintain their freedom, and then they take it away from their own citizenry. I would say that that's a little bit on the problematic side now, wouldn't you? That's about all. Peace out.